Hello, art lovers. Imagine you're on a peaceful walk at sunset, maybe listening to the calming sound of waves, when suddenly an inexplicable anxiety creeps in. Your heart races, your mouth opens wide, and you feel an overwhelming, primal urge to scream. In that exact moment, you become the Edvard Munch of the 21st century. Welcome to the universe of the scream, or as I like to call it, anxiety personified on canvas. Edvard Munch, a Norwegian painter famous for his portraits of not-so-happy people, to put it mildly, gave us one of the most iconic paintings in history. The Scream, completed in 1893, has been celebrated for decades. But behind that terrified face, which looks like a mix between a ghost and one of the most used WhatsApp emojis, there are deeper mysteries than one might think. What on earth is going on in this painting? Legend has it that Munch was walking with friends along a fjord, because apparently, in Norway, they only walk near fjords, when he was struck by a sense of cosmic dread. He described that moment as one where the sky turned blood red, and he felt an endless scream pass through nature. He didn't specify if this scream was just in his head, but let's be honest, it's kind of like when you realize you forgot to buy toilet paper and you're already sitting on the toilet. The Scream. Munch never actually called the painting The Scream. The original Norwegian title is Skrik, which translates to shriek or cry. But The Scream definitely has more of an impact, doesn't it? It's more theatrical, more social media friendly. But what exactly is the subject screaming about? Some say it's the terror of human existence. Others think he's just reacting to his reflection in a particularly unforgiving mirror. And let's not forget, it's not just the central figure that's a bit stressed out. Have you ever noticed the background? That orange-red sky looks like something out of a bad psychedelic trip, while the fjord and the road appear warped, as if they were drawn by someone who had way too much caffeine. The main subject seems almost fused with the environment, so much so that it's hard to tell where he ends and the pastel apocalypse begins. The strange figures. While our poor screaming friend is there, tearing his throat apart in deep anguish, two mysterious figures appear in the background. Creepy, I'd say, with an almost menacing air. But are they walking behind him, as if about to catch up? Or are they heading in the opposite direction, completely ignoring his mental breakdown? Hard to tell. At this point, let's take a closer look at the eyes of the screaming figure. And what if the scream isn't out of sheer anguish, but out of terror toward those creepy figures chasing him? Who knows? Maybe we're witnessing a psychological thriller scene. Either way, I'm not sure which is worse, being chased by two mysterious figures, or even worse, being completely ignored during a full-blown anxiety attack. A classic existential dilemma. Some art historians, always ready to offer pearls of wisdom, argue that those two figures symbolize human indifference. In other words, you could be having a complete emotional breakdown, but the world just keeps spinning, indifferent and unfazed. Others, however, think Munch just wanted to add a couple of people to balance out the composition. Maybe they were simply checking out the menu of a Norwegian restaurant and decided the prices were too high. And what if the background is the real mystery? Some theories suggest that the eerie sky in the painting isn't just a product of Munch's troubled imagination. No, it could have been inspired by a real event, the eruption of the Krakatoa volcano in 1883. This natural disaster painted the skies around the world with apocalyptic shades of red and orange for years. Munch, in the midst of his existential crisis, might have seen one of these fiery sunsets and decided to paint one of the most unsettling skies in art history. And then, what are those strange figures in the distance? What are they? Boats? People in a boat with an umbrella? The mystery deepens. It almost feels like we've wandered into an Agatha Christie novel. Munch, the Van Gogh of screams. Like Van Gogh with his ears, Munch had his personal struggles. He was afflicted by depression, anxiety, and a general cosmic pessimism that makes Radiohead lyrics sound like cheerful party tunes. It's no wonder he chose to represent terror and anguish in such a visceral way. But back to the main question. What is Munch trying to tell us with The Scream? Well, according to some, Munch was depicting the transition from the certainty and stability of the 19th century to the modern anxiety of the 20th century. In a way, It was an early preview of memes and Monday mornings. The thefts of the Scream. The Scream isn't just a work of art, it's also become a prime target for art thieves. The painting has been stolen not once, but twice. In 1994, thieves had the brilliant idea of stealing it during the Winter Olympics in Lillehammer, because obviously, when everyone is distracted watching skiing, it's the perfect time to rob a museum. Thankfully, it was recovered. Then in 2004, they tried again. Once more, the Scream was brought back. Maybe still screaming, but safe. So, why does this painting still speak to us? Perhaps because, in the end, we've all had that moment where we felt overwhelmed, as if the world was collapsing around us and no one was paying attention. Or maybe, like Munch, we found ourselves staring at an intense and emotional sunset, and the only plausible reaction was, well, at this point, I might as well scream too. In any case, the Scream isn't just a painting. It's become a universal symbol of modern anxiety, a cultural icon that, whether we like it or not, still resonates with us. So next time you look at it, take a deep breath and remember, sometimes even anxiety can be fascinating.